Well, Mr. President-elect and former President, Donald, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And looking forward to having like we said, smooth transition. Do everything we can to make sure you're accommodated, what you need. And we're going to get a chance to talk about some of that today. So
Good.
welcome.
Thank you
back.
very much. And thank you very much. And politics is tough, and it's in many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate very much a transition that's so smooth. It'll be as smooth as it can get, and I very much appreciate that, Jim.
You're welcome.
So how are we going to explain this now? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's break it down. So here we are post-election with former President Donald Trump sitting down, shaking hands with current President Joe Biden. Let's watch this clip. And as we watch this interaction, let's think about all of the accusations that the news media and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris put on Donald Trump, such as the fact that he is a fascist, a racist, and a threat to democracy. And then I'm going to ask you a few key questions that you can explain to me in the comments. So let's roll the clip again and watch this.
Donald, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And looking forward to having like we said, smooth transition. Do everything we can to make sure you're accommodated, what you need. And we're going to get a chance to talk about some of that today. So
Good.
welcome.
Thank you
back.
very much. And thank you very much. And politics is tough, and it's in many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate very much a transition that's so smooth. It'll be as smooth as it can get, and I very much appreciate that, Jim.
You're welcome.
Okay, so here we have two gentlemen sitting down for a nice conversation, very pleasant, and the president guaranteeing a smooth transition for the man who was formerly accused of being a racist, a fascist, and a threat to democracy, who almost suffered an assassination not once, but twice. So the question that I have in my mind is, were you all telling the truth? If Donald Trump is a racist, a fascist, a threat to democracy, a man who's going to put everyone in jail and internment camps for going against him, why would we guarantee a smooth transition? So if all of these things were true, would we really have this sit down, this pleasant conversation with a guarantee from President Joe Biden that everything would go smoothly and that he is hopeful that everything goes well? Now, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. As a matter of fact, during the election season, all we saw were clips stitched together from the president, leaving out key statements, key moments that made it clear to us what his real intentions are and what his beliefs are and who he is aligned with. As a matter of fact, let's just cut to another clip that is kind of hard to explain, where we will watch some comments by President Joe Biden, and then we'll see some clips from former President Donald Trump that we didn't seem to see a whole lot of during the election season. So let's roll this clip.
He doesn't deny them at a minimum.
I totally disavow the Ku Klux Klan. I totally disavow David Duke.
When you say the party is self-destructive, what do you see as the biggest problem with the Reform Party right now?
Well, you've got David Duke just joined, a bigot, a racist, a problem. I mean, this is not exactly the people you want in your party.
So are you prepared right now to make a clear and unequivocal statement renouncing the support of all white supremacists?
Of course I am. Of course I am.
Do I have to reject? I've rejected David Duke. I've rejected the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan.
About the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans.
In one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy.
He disavowed the KKK 100 times. So when you put an article like that, it's disingenuous.
They're taking black jobs now. The whole country's going to be like, it'll be like Detroit. A lot of it's about the genes, isn't it? Don't you believe?
They're poisoning the blood of our country. Troublemaker. These are troublemakers. Look, I love the old days, you know? Do you know what they used to do to guys like that when they were in a place like this? They'd be carried out on a stretcher, folks. Like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
Now, if you had one really violent day, like one rough hour, and I mean real rough, the word will get out and it will end immediately.
But we're going...
Okay, so this is interesting. So obviously from this video that Officer Tatum presented, he shares this video with comments stitched together, snatched out of speeches made by Donald Trump. And then we place those with unrelated videos from history to illustrate a point that was never really made. Now, let's contrast that and compare it to the comments that we just saw that Donald Trump made. And then we get to today, where we see these two gentlemen sitting down where the president is guaranteeing a peaceful transition. So the question I have for you is this: who's the real bigot? Who's the real racist? Which ones are really fascist? Which party is the threat to democracy? And why were the clips that I showed you, where Donald Trump disavowed bigots, racists, the Ku Klux Klan, why weren't those shown during the election season? Is it fair, and is it right, and is it moral to snatch the accusations that you're putting on someone else, but then employ them yourself in the form of a lie? Does that help you to trust the Democratic Party? And does this spell the end of this disastrous rule where bigotry, hatred, fascism, being a dictator, or all of these things are used as weapons to discredit and create this false reality that Donald Trump is basically Hitler? It's kind of interesting, isn't it? And what do you think about this new definition of what a racist is, what a bigot is? Does it damage the ability for us to even consider what racism is when we call people who are racist those that disavow racism? Now, when I was growing up, we knew what racism was. It was in your face. It was outright. It was overt. It wasn't covert. There's still a lot of covert racism. But there was no question in my mind that when you described a racist person, it was someone like David Duke, who was the head of the Ku Klux Klan. Now, let me ask you this. Can you find any footage from David Duke or a former leader of the Ku Klux Klan or a Hitler-esque, Nazi-esque group where they're making statements against racism and bigotry? Can you find a clip? So what is the definition of racism and bigotry? Have we arrived at a day where racism, bigotry, fascism, prejudicial thinking, is this just something that's used as a weapon where it's not really intended to be true? It kind of waters down the strength of the word bigot. it waters down the strength of the word racist whenever we hurl that upon an individual who disavows the very words that are being heaped upon their head. So what's the real danger here? I think there is a real danger and a threat to our ability to ever label real racists, to ever call out real bigots, because the Democratic Party has abused the use of these terms to the point where they no longer even have meaning. So these days, a racist is just a term that we use to discredit someone. It's not used to call out someone who does actual evil, hateful acts of bigotry. It's just used to knock somebody down because they are a political opponent. So what I would like to know is this. If any of this was to be taken seriously, if there was any truth to the claims that Donald Trump is a racist, a bigot, a Hitler-esque type of gentleman who is going to end up being a dictator and put everyone into concentration camps, why would we sit down and shake hands with that individual and guarantee a peaceful transfer of power? So are we really to believe that democracy is threatened by Donald Trump? If we're sitting down and saying, congratulations, we hope that everything is peaceful and goes well for you. Are we supposed to believe that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy when the same person issuing those statements is shaking hands with that individual and wishing him well? Now, let's say if Adolf Hitler was sitting right here and not Donald Trump. Do you think a real bigot, a real threat to democracy, if this was Adolf Hitler, do you think that the president of the United States would shake hands with Adolf Hitler and guarantee a peaceful transition of power? What if this individual was David Duke, the head of the Ku Klux Klan? Do you think that the president of the United States would sit down with David Duke, the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan, and congratulate him and guarantee a peaceful transition of power? I'd like you to explain that to me. And I'd also like you to comment and let me know, has this eroded your faith in the Democratic Party at all? If the Democratic Party continues to use these heinous words and these horrible accusations on people who publicly disavow racism, does this kind of erode your trust in the words that they are using? Do they lose their meaning? What happens if we have a real racist? Have we ruined our ability to call them out? Will this turn into a henny penny situation where we have been screaming, the sky is falling, the sky is falling, the sky is falling? How many times can you cry wolf when there is no wolf and then expect to continue to be believed when you issue the warning that there is a wolf in the chicken pen? Post in the comments below and let me know, because I'm seriously scratching my head on this, and I'm reaching for an explanation to understand how we were supposed to believe all the rhetoric that we heard during the campaign if it ends up with a handshake, a congratulations, and a guarantee of a peaceful transition. I'd love it if you would like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And please, if you enjoy these videos, turn on the notifications and check back often for new videos, because these videos are not getting out to the people who want to see them. We've got nearly 8,000 subscribers, but the video counts have gone down considerably. So that means if you want to hear this content and my commentary, you need to click the notification bell so you know when I post up new content. Well, that's all I've got for this one. We'll keep it short and sweet. This is Carlton, and I am out.